Intro to Chemistry and the Scientific Method. So we're going to learn what chemistry is, and we're going to talk about the scientific method, which may be familiar to you. Chemistry is the study of composition of matter, which is all the stuff around you, and the changes that it undergoes. We call those chemical reactions. There are 5 branches of chemistry. There are sub-branches, of course, but these are the 5 main ones. We have organic chemistry, physical chemistry, inorganic, analytical, and biochemistry. So I'd like you guys to know what each one is. Organic chemistry is the study of compounds that contain carbon. So if it has carbon in it, we're going to consider that organic. Now, you could probably guess inorganic is a study of compounds that do not have carbon. Physical chemistry is basically the physics of chemistry. So in this case, physical chemistry usually is concerned with energy change, quantifying things at the quantum level. So I'm going to put concerned with energy. Analytical chemistry, if you analyze something, you're trying to figure out what's going on with it or what it has or what it's made of. So in analytical chemistry, you're looking at the composition. What is stuff made out of? How can you analyze that? Biochemistry, you may see the word life. You guys took biology before chemistry. So this is the chemistry of living things. Bio means life. So those are the 5 branches of chemistry. There are 5 steps to the scientific method, and the scientific method is something that we use as scientists to try and figure out a problem. Without problems, we have no science. If there was nothing wrong with the world, there would be no need to discover anything new. But because there are all kinds of things that we don't know, we need the scientific method. You guys may know all 5 steps already. Number 1 is the problem, the hypothesis, the experiment, observations and data, and then, of course, your conclusion. So we're going to go into depth just a little bit more over each of those, even though you've probably seen them before. The problem. We want to figure out what's wrong. What is something that we're trying to figure out? What do we want to know more about? Or potentially, what can we solve? What's the solution? The hypothesis is your educated guess. What do you think is going to happen? What do you think something's made out of? What do you think is going to happen when we mix these two things? It's a prediction of what will happen, but it's based on prior knowledge. That's why we call it an educated guess. The experiment is number 3. We actually want to test our hypothesis. We want to do something. We want to conduct some sort of experiment. And we usually have control groups there. And we also have variable groups. Control groups stay the same. There are some things that we don't want to change. But there are also things that we do want to change so that we can figure out what exactly it is that's causing this issue, this problem. So we have 2 types of variables that change. We have the control, of course, but then we have independent and dependent variables. Independent variable is what you change, what the experimenter changes. It's independent of the whole study because you manipulate it. 2 is the dependent variable. It depends on what you change. What is observed, measured. So when we're graphing in this class, which we will do 1 or 2 times, we might want to keep in mind dry mix. The dependent variable is on the range, which is on the y-axis. The manipulated or independent variable is on the x-axis. Observations and data. So once you actually go through an experiment, you're going to have something to look at, whether it's data, whether it's qualitative or quantitative observations. You may get it in the form of a graph, a chart. You're going to organize your data in some way that you can actually draw a conclusion from it, which is number 5. A conclusion must be based on observations. You can't just willy-nilly go and make a conclusion. You need to actually pull data and make a statement based on the data. A lot of scientists get it wrong. They try and throw their own opinions in there without hard, concrete evidence. It may or may not support your hypothesis. A lot of students think that your hypothesis has to be correct, when in most cases, it's not.